and we are live with the Rolling Out Wine Up. Um, I have my lovely co-host with me tonight, and we have a really nice show prepared for you guys tonight. If you guys don't know, tonight we're checking in with Jacob Greenleaf, also known as Lamman Rucker, and he's going to be checking in with us, letting us know the latest is going on with Greenleaf, his new projects, what he has going on. He's a social activist, so he's going to be letting us know all of those things tonight. But before we get into that, we will get into some current some current news, so to speak. But before we go there, let me just go ahead and let you guys know what I'm drinking on. We'll do a round table for the rest of the hosts to let you guys know what they're drinking on. We're toast, and then we'll get started. Welcome to the wine up. Welcome to the wine up. So, y'all, I am drinking on a little bit of Prosecco tonight. So I felt a little light, crisp, refreshing. It's still hot, it's humid. I just felt like just a little bit of just the edge of Prosecco. What y'all drinking on? I'm gonna go ahead and throw the ball to Rocky.
Hey, everyone. I am sipping on, I found a new, so I used to be on the Rancho La Gloria wine margarita cocktails. I found a new one called Uptown Cocktails. This is the chocolatini one. So it's like a creamy chocolate type wine, but it's a martini-ish type thing too. So really good.
All right. Let's go over to Kristen. What you drinking on, girl?
Hey, girl. Hey, I got my double portion of sangria. And listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I threw a little pineapple, some grapes. I'm a happy girl, and this will be gone by the end of the show.
I love it. Double portion. Love it.
Double portion. Okay, Latrice, what you drinking on?
So today I did not make my drinks. I don't know what it is, but it's really good. I'm getting a little tipsy off of it. So welcome. What's up?
Did hubby make it, Latrice? Did hubby make it?
He made it today.
Okay.
The glass is full.
All right. Cool points to hubby. Okay.
Okay, so let's go ahead and toast to a great show, a phenomenal show. Like I said, we're going to get a chance to talk to Jacob from Greenleaf, also known as Lamman Rucker, get into his life a bit, get into his character's life a bit, and just find out everything about him that's going on. But let's go ahead and toast to Lamman Rucker. Peace, love, money, prosperity, stock splits,
forgiveness,
and then some.
And then some.
All of that. All of that.
All right, y'all. What are we uncorking today? What's going on in the world today? Current events. So y'all know Beyonce. Are y'all Beyonce drunk yet? Because Beyonce drops her new album, Black is King. It's streaming on Disney Plus. I'm sure everybody in the world, if not just everybody in America, but I'm sure everybody in the world had a chance to just see a little bit of it. What's going on with it? How did y'all like it? Check in with it. Let's go. What's up, Rocky? You look like
you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I have not watched the full thing, but from what I have seen, Beyonce is in all of her majestic regality. She's doing her thing. So I'm not, I saw a lot of buzz over the weekend about it. You know, of course, some people had some stuff to say and then others were loving it. I'm always a fan of Beyonce representing the culture. So I'm sure I'll love it when I see it. I really love the clip of her and Kelly Rowland. I love how she's showing that light and dark, we come together, we love each other. There's no animosity. So I do love the images of that I've seen thus far. So I do look forward to watching, catching up on it.
Kristen, what's going on with you? How did
I was excited about it. Won't lie. I was super excited. I said I was going to make a thing out of it Friday night, have a little popcorn. And I got like halfway through it and was like, okay, love it. But I will be honest.
How long is it, Kristen?
I think it's like an hour and a half or something like that. And yeah, I mean, it was great seeing, the imagery was amazing. But after a while, I was like, I needed cliff notes because I needed to know what the symbolism was.
Okay.
And I needed details
about some of the characters in her videos. I had some questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Latrice, go ahead.
I definitely love the fashions of it, the dances, the music was all unique. It was incredible. I watched it and then I kind of fell asleep because it was a little bit too long, but it was good.
Huh. Okay. So what I'm hearing, she could have did this in about an hour.
She could have did an hour. I was like, this
Solid 45. Solid 45.
With the virtue, without commercial.
We're going to put a pin in this
45
conversation.
minutes.
And we're going to talk to the man of the hour. Mr. Lamman Rucker has joined us. He's in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Wine Up, Lamman.
What's up, ladies? I mean, I'm glad I got the note. You know what I mean? So I'm in here.
Yeah. So first things first, what are you drinking on?
This is just a little Pinot. I grabbed the closest thing I could find. And luckily, believe it or not, I'm really not a avid drinker, but I keep a few bottles in the kitchen just for a special occasion. So I literally just cracked this bottle open a few days ago, so it was easy access right now. But so yeah, just a little Pinot Noir.
Absolutely. We love it. We love it. So
I'm not mentioning no brands because ain't nobody writing no checks over here.
No checks.
There we go.
Checks.
That part. Ooh. That's a great point there.
Absolutely. No brands mentioned without the checks.
That's
so
right.
Before we get started,
I
just
need
tell
to
our
make sure we follow through with some of the Black-owned wineries that we know of, and
Yes.
If y'all gonna start doing stuff like this, I need to maybe start positioning those brands a little bit. Maybe y'all too. Y'all need some recommendations. Let me know.
We do.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
We're always open for it.
That's what's up. Yeah, let's put our folks on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sure.
Love it.
Before we go ahead and get into it, I want you to introduce yourself to our audience. Let them know who you are. Of course, everybody already knows who you are. We've been promoting this thing like crazy. But go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience. Let them know who you are, what you do, and all of that good stuff.
I'll try to give the condensed and hopefully interesting version. Lamman Rucker, actor, educator, activist, entrepreneur, philanthropist, try to be the man I'm designed to be and the man I continue to dream to be. And, also known as, I heard one of y'all say, AKA Jacob Greenleaf. So
Yes.
currently also known as, maybe it's the thing to say, right? Depending on where I might be everyone's favorite or maybe even least favorite, right? But yeah, currently the son of Bishop and Lady May, loving father of Winky and Zora, troubled husband of Carissa, and loving and annoyed brother of Grace and Charity.
Yeah, for real. I'm glad you said it. I want to talk about your sisters, but I'm glad you said it.
Exactly.
I love them to death, though, man.
Yeah, that's family.
So welcome to the Wine Up. We are so
thanks for having me, ladies. Y'all are beautiful, by the way. I love it. I got the taste of the rainbow right here too.
Thank you.
I got everything I need right here.
And shout out to you for that Detroit Tigers t-shirt.
Exactly. Actually, you know what?
I was looking at it. It didn't look like Detroit though.
Not to let you down, but this is I'm repping all Memphis right here. So this is an
I
old
was looking like they look like the Tigers.
Baseball. So yeah, I understand these are the Memphis Pros. So I picked this up a while back. And then minor league, actually I believe an old Negro League team from back in the day. And this is just something I picked up as well. So it's actually University of Memphis. But I love Tigers, and anytime I find anything that's nice, legit Memphis stuff, I love the city of Memphis, and because of course the show is set in Memphis, always show Memphis extra love. I have honorary doctorates too from Lane College and Lemoyne Owen in Tennessee as well. So got a lot of. Normally that's what I might rock when I'm repping Tennessee. I try to keep it HBCU and rep for them, but today I decided to throw a little Jacob baseball player curveball in it and just do a little something different.
We love it. Yeah, I was looking at your shirt and
I
I was
love the D though. I love
you
Detroit
love
though
the
too.
D.
Much love
Okay.
for Detroit. Oh yeah, much love for Detroit.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So let's get into it, right? So you introduce yourself as Jacob Greenleaf. You play the character Jacob Greenleaf. You are everybody's favorite. We just gonna put that out there.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but in our last episode that we watched, right? Your mom, who plays Lady May, right? Your character's mom, she revealed that she had a bit of infidelity going on, right? So, does the confession and revelation of her character's infidelity change how your character feels about your relationship with your wife, Carissa? Do you think you should work it out now, or better yet, just tell us what ends up happening in the upcoming episodes? We tired of
Well,
waiting.
come on.
Just
You
tell
know I
us.
can't. You know I can't give you no spoilers.
Just
But I will say is what I will say is I think your first part of that question was actually really interesting because um, I do think there's a part of him that is now challenged on a whole nother level with how difficult this decision of divorce is because now it's oh wow yeah now it's seeing his mother in a different light, right? It's um, the whole time you looked at her as being right the example of everything. And I mean, especially when it comes to any child and their parent, right? You put them up on this pedestal. We saw Bishop fall from grace in his eyes a lot sooner, right? And you saw because there's always been that really difficult father-son rift. You saw how much of a mama's boy he is, but that's also part of the problem. She has literally always treated him like a child, maybe in very nurturing ways, but at the same time, you can see the way she spoke to him the other day in a very belittling way too, right? So you can see a lot of Jacob's issues are not just his own; they're connected to his parents' issues, the issues they have with themselves, and in the way they parented him impacts how he's lived the rest of his life. It's impacted, even how he deals with himself, how he manages his marriage, and I do think it's creating another level of challenge to how he um, how much more difficult and complex this decision is to move on from Carissa. I have faith in him that he'll still do it because I think the conviction and the clarity in him is still so strong that he knows that just like he said, I think a episode or two ago, he's like, yo, I couldn't go back into that thing. You know what I'm saying? It was like he knows that he's been in this really unhealthy cycle, this just abyss of again dishonesty. And trust me, that's not Carissa's first time. So they've both been like just dancing this dance for so long, and it's cancerous. It's cancerous to both of them. Neither one of them have really been happy. They love each other because they've kind of come to love each other, but they were never in love. And the irony also is the way I've shaped Jacob is I've always believed that, and I've, in my world, right? Jacob was forced and manipulated into marrying Carissa by his mother in the first place. So the irony of that, is very powerful too. So his his issues with both of these women are connected, right? I mean, these are sometimes the cycles. It's often said that people kind of marry, right? Women marry their fathers, men marry their mothers, right? And
absolutely.
sometimes the women you overcompensate or whatever. But I think that same cycle of codependency as well as kind of emasculation that Jacob's fallen into is very much a part of how he was raised. And we're just starting to finally see him come into his own and like just keep it real with folks and check them, tell them about themselves, be clear about what he wants and what he doesn't want. And I hope he moves on. I can't wait till he moves on. And there's been mumbles about a spinoff. Maybe we'll see Jacob move on into a whole nother realm of who knows what his potential is. I think he's an incredible, magnificent man that has so much untapped potential. I can't wait to really see him shine. So I'm praying for him, all the time.
I love your adjective magnificent. Yes, he is
Yeah,
magnificent.
man.
But I am
Yeah.
going to throw the ball to my co-host Latrice Delgado Macon.
Latrice Delgado Macon. Okay.
How are you? How are you? So in
I'm doing great.
your character, your father is very sharp in fashion. Do you feel like you need to wear the shoes like him, dress like him, or is your character able to like venture off into doing other things in fashion?
As far as fashion, just his sense of fashion.
Yes.
So that's a good question too, because one of the things we have been very collaborative about on our show, which I really love, and shout out to everybody from our showrunners and executives, but in particular this question, our costume designer Janetta Boone, she's always had a really wonderful vision for everybody. I remember when at the very beginning when she kind of laid out, she was like, "Hey, here you can look at your board and look at what we have, like how we see Jacob and what he's going to look like." And, we talked about his color palette and, like what, so he doesn't really do a whole bunch of really bright stuff, but he has a boldness about him, but he has a very like kind of understated warmth, and it's a power, but it's an inner power that doesn't come through in a whole lot of bright colors or patterns or anything like that. But you'll see splashes of it here and there. Maybe it's a little lapel pin, or it might be in his pocket square. Or if you look at his watch game is tight. He wears nice shoes. So he does certain little things that we've tried to be very specific and particular about, where he does have the opportunity to express himself. But again, that's part of Jacob's story. He can never really completely just express himself because he's been so repressed and held back. He can't really shine because he's still living in the shadow of his father, right? He can't really do his own thing because the institution of the church, the control of his mother and father, all these other expectations, all these eyes on him throughout his life, he's never really been able to really kind of establish his own identity. So naturally, it's led by his father. He follows his father's example. But being a young dude, like Jacob's got some sex appeal. He's got his own little swag. He's got he's got his own, he does have some sense of himself, but not a really strong sense of himself. And you see that gradually. If you notice after like season, or part of the way, I think through maybe season 2, I cut his hair. So we cut his hair a different way, right? To the point where Jacob was like, "Look, man," I'm like, he stopped wearing ties, right? There was even a scene where I made a very deliberate, conscious decision to say, I'm not wearing ties anymore. So once he went over to Triumph, he could kind of do his own thing and start to really find his own voice. He stopped wearing ties, because the tie, even symbolically, was one of those conventions that he was like bound to and obligated to growing up as a boy in the church, right? So, but anytime you still see him at Calvary on Sunday, he's got on a tie, because no matter how old he is, he still knows what the rules are, right?
Right.
So it's really interesting that you would ask that in terms of fashion, because there's definitely a very direct correlation to who Jacob is, how he walks and talks, and how he dresses, how he expresses himself, how he shows himself to the world, and it's definitely connected to, what his mother and father have kind of allowed him to do, as well as what he's had the confidence to even really like, find and establish and express for himself.
Yes. Sophia Rucker Taylor, that's in our Zoom audience, said it's swag. So yes,
Yeah, that's right.
swag.
That's right. He's developing it. He's got his own just naturally, as all of us do, right? But real swag comes with time. You can't force it. You can't copy somebody else's. Just like sex appeal, right? It's like you can't do it. I don't care what kind of things you buy, what you put in your hair, how you decorate your face, or how you fix it. And you can buy this, stuff that, do this surgery. It doesn't matter. Like real swag, real confidence, real, true self-esteem, and like resilience, and like self-worth comes from coming into it on your own, coming into it in your own way, in your own time. And it's really good. It's really been an incredible pleasure and privilege to portray this man, like as he evolves into this, right? And see him fall on his face in the meantime. But that's what makes it realistic.
I love it. I love it. I love it. We're now going to throw the ball to Kristen.
So,
hey, Kristen.
Hey, Lamman, how are you?
Good.
Good. So I wanted to kind of double back on your earlier answer regarding Jacob. He's a fairly complex character, and some viewers love him, some of them hate him because of his philandering ways. But I wanted you to kind of talk about, some of his redeeming qualities or redeeming characteristics, why we should love Jacob, and, maybe will we see him in a different light by the end of the season or when everything's all said and done?
Yeah, I mean, I think we already have started to see Jacob in a different light. And I don't necessarily think that it's different per se. I mean, I'm always fighting for how we're depicted and as Black folks, as Black men, as Black women, Black love, Black family, Black fatherhood, Black motherhood, whatever. I think there's so much stigma sometimes when it comes to how Black men can be portrayed, but what I love is that, again, it's a process of evolving into what it is, you're trying to be. And like from jump, I started this hashtag pray for Jacob. So it's never really been so much about whether Jacob is likable or not. It's never really been about whether he's a good guy or bad guy, whether, you should vilify him for cheating on his wife, or whether you should forgive him, just because you think he's a nice guy. He's all of those things. You can't become you can't really come into your full-fledged evolution without embracing everything that got you there. And that's falling on your face, that's making mistakes, that's the lies you've told, the people that you've never forgiven, the forgiveness you've never asked for or earned. It's all of that. So I totally embraced everything about Jacob. When I tell you I love him, I genuinely love him, his flaws and everything. So for me, it's really been about like just embracing the whole story. I mean, I think that's what's important. We can judge people sometimes just on actions, but what I love about this show is what we try to do is we try to give you the why, right? Because most of the time in most people's lives, we don't really get a chance to see behind the veil. But now that we do, not to give them excuses, but at least you kind of have an idea of like, oh, that's why he's like that, right? I think every single one of us, as much as it is our responsibility to take accountability for our actions, right? We are always in control of ourselves and the choices that we make. We've absolutely at the same time been formed and shaped by the people who gave birth to us or raised us or taught us or impacted us or whatever those environments or stimuli that's around us. It's all part of what has shaped us. So you can't just be like, oh, I'm a victim of all of these circumstances and these environments. You got to step up on your own 2 feet, push your own shoulders back, be smart, make decisions for yourself, take responsibility for your own actions, and own up to what you've done, and also take credit for the things that you do well. I think he's an incredible person. I think from jump, I tried to make sure I was very adamant about showing how much of a loving and devoted father he is. He learned that from his father, even though he's got an issue with his father about not necessarily being as present for him as he wished he was. But that's also difficult for his father because his father is leading this whole congregation and he got 3 other kids, right? And a wife as dominant and opinionated and controlling and wonderful as she is. So he's a product of that, but yet you also saw him very intentionally trying to always do the best he could. And sometimes he didn't try as hard. Sometimes he's just a spoiled brat. He's like this overprivileged prince of the palace. And like other wealthy people in other cultures or other, castes around, the world, they sleep with the help. So yeah, he knows he can sleep with secretaries and housekeepers and all these other women in the congregation. Mothers and daughters be lining up for this boy, He's had it that way all his life, because people also want to be what? They want to be Carissa. A lot of these mothers and daughters, they want to be, right, the one next in line to. So there's all these people who've had these kind of agendas, and they've kind of supported and enabled him being irresponsible. But he's the one who's chosen to not take it seriously, not really fulfill his responsibility. He didn't really want to be there in the first place. Jacob would rather be doing other stuff. So that's why, you always see all this baseball stuff, and I'm rocking baseball stuff, is because he wanted to go play professional baseball and do all kind of other stuff, you know. Then he would have come back to the church in his own way, in his own time. But they didn't let him live his life. So he's been trapped in this privileged dungeon of beauty and opulence, you know what I mean? But he's incredibly unhappy, unhappy. And that's something we need to understand. So not to feel sorry for him, but to really understand that Jacob seeking his fulfillment has really been a 5-season-long journey, and he's still getting there. So he's still got a lot further to go. And that's why I just want everybody to continue to pray for Jacob. All right.
Hashtag pray for Jacob.
He's not so terrible. He's not so terrible. But I do want to ask
and throw the ball over to Rocky. Rocky has a question for you, Lamman.
I do want to ask you, go back to you and Lady May's relationship and how it parallels with Carissa's relationship, which makes a lot of sense. And I am glad to see that Jacob is coming into his own and being a man. And unfortunately, some of the things that he does have gone well and others have not. But I want to go back to a little bit more of what happened with him and Carissa. The line that struck me this last episode when Lady May, as you said, spoke to him as a child and said, you should have married someone who you love, or next time marry someone who you love. And then you said that she forced him to marry Carissa.
You know, I wanted to say something back to her so bad.
Was it because she was pregnant with Zora, or what happened? Because I'm not, please remind of why they got married in the first place. What happened?
So in my opinion, so there's something really interesting about that. So you picked up on that, which is brilliant. There's something about that in Jacob's opinion, if Jacob were to say what was really on his mind right there, he would have said kind of what I say. You made me marry her in the first place. But you think Lady May remembers that? Or do you think Lady May would even ever actually take responsibility for that? No. I think no to both of those questions. I don't even think she entirely even remembers that, because even right there in that moment, what she's doing is really asking me to forgive her. She got her own issues, right? What she's talking about, me forgive Carissa, but it's really her carrying that guilt of her own, knowing she's not everything she's held herself out to be, right? So I think, you know, that, and there's also something about sometimes writers are writing and they're not developing my backstory, you know, the same way I'm doing the homework of developing the reason why I, you know, married Carissa. So for me, that may not be true, but that's the way she sees it. But the way I see it is, I was highly encouraged to marry this woman. She's good for you.
Right.
She's smart. She comes from good stock, right? It's another wealthy, influential family. It's almost like being in an arranged marriage of two royal, you know, people, right? This is a royal family type of dynamic we're dealing with. So that's part of it. It's also, all right, Jacob, we don't want you running the streets, right? You about to be out there like Eddie Murphy in Arsenio Hall, like coming to America, you know, sowing your royal oats. You can't be out there like, can't be out there having babies, making us look bad. Don't embarrass your mother. You know what I'm saying? Don't be out here like shaming the Greenleaf name. So unfortunately, that same kind of control that Lady May has always exhibited over his life is the same kind of control that he permitted, and actually I think eventually feels comfortable with Carissa. He feels comfortable in a relationship where the woman is in control of his behavior, because he even still believes he's a child, even though he doesn't want to be. He was always looking up to her, which is another reason why her infidelity is such a huge blow to him, is because she's supposed to be better than him.
Yeah.
So when you now demonstrated that you're not better than me, what does that make me? Or where does that put us? It shakes up the whole codependent relationship, you know? And I think, again, Lady May chose Carissa because she was even in a lot of ways most like her, and could help keep her son in check, keep him home, lead him, be a good, strong woman that looks good, that fits the picture, you know, give me some pretty chocolate babies, and I need to marry you off and give me some grandchildren. Who cares about your happiness? I want my grandchildren. And if you listen, a couple times she's even said, you're not going to take my baby out of this house, but you're not going to take my son from me, type of thing. So this is also connected to Grace leaving. So that's why all this is all connected. Grace even leaving is connected to what? the Grace's issues with the family, Grace's issues with her mother, right? So the guilt that Lady May has from even Grace being gone is her own guilt. She knows that she forced her own daughter out. And then even her blind eye to her brother's behavior is another thing that forced her daughter out. So if the daughter's already gone, even though she got issues with her, you think she gonna let me leave?
Right. That's a
No.
Not her baby
So
boy.
Not happening.
She held on to Jacob that much tighter. Plus, that's her baby boy. You know how it is with mothers and sons, and he's the only son.
Yeah.
So Jacob's got all this pressure because of that, but he's also, like I said, been coddled and coveted in such a way that that's all part of it too. So I think this energy that exists between him and his mother is so unhealthy, but it's also very typical. As loving and as powerful as that bond is, there are also things about it that really aren't in his best interest, and they haven't really served Lady May either. They've just given her this false sense of security and power, having her children so close and so near her, only for her to be this little puppet master, and everything falls and comes to shit anyway.
Yeah.
So now it's almost like her hand is forced to tell the truth because everything's crumbling anyway. And I think now she's realizing, oh man, I probably should have done a lot of this a lot differently.
Right.
But think about where she's come from. We got to remember our parents were kids too.
Yeah.
So when you see where she comes from, what she dealt with in her family and her childhood, so what it's about. This is about how these patterns and how these generational lies and secrets and insecurities and behaviors and misdeeds, they just carry on until you get to the truth, until you deal with the shit you're really supposed to deal with. My mother's always said, the sooner you get to it, the sooner you get through it,
Right.
So, I believe I've always said jokingly too, like this being on the OWN network, most of the shows on the network about people owning their shit. Like you gotta get to own your mess.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
True.
So that's part of it too. So the family is finally getting to that. And it's unfortunate that all of these foundations that people have held as their, like I said, this false sense of security and power have started to crumble for them to finally get to where they should have been from the start. But I believe that's why this is so incredible. And that's why this is the final season, because we're showing that this whole thing is going to fall apart, but it's going to be really interesting to maybe just to wonder and imagine, or maybe at some point see what happens when the Greenleaf family and legacy is rebuilt. And ideally, like Lady May said, she's like, no, this needs to be founded on truth this time,
Yes.
And that's what I think is going to be incredibly inspiring, is to see where they go from here. And unfortunately, things have to fall apart in order to be reborn. So, our kids are going to be okay, but they're going to come out with some scars too.
Yeah.
We've already seen some of that, and everybody's going to be all right. We love each other. We drive each other nuts. We hurt each other's feelings. We stab each other in the back, but nobody else is allowed to do that, because you mess with Greenleaf, we coming for you.
Exactly. So let me jump in right quick. As you said, this is the 5th and final season. Everyone on Facebook is going crazy, talking about they don't want this to be the last season. Please don't go. Jacob, we love you. Don't lose the house. All of this type of comments, right?
But at least they fighting for us. That's what's up.
I think we're all fighting for you, right?
Right.
So I do want to touch just one more time on your relationship with Carissa, right? So you were faced with a situation about adultery where your character cheated numerous times. Like you just said, you got the help, you got people standing in line, you got people that want to take Carissa's place.
Take a number.
Exactly. But we see that Carissa cheated once. We've seen that she cheated once, right? You alluded to her cheating maybe more than once. And her cheating did have some terrible consequences. But in real life, how do you think you would have handled that situation if that were to happen to you?
If my wife had done the same thing?
Absolutely.
That's an incredibly difficult question. So I think I don't have a concrete answer, to be honest with you. I think in principle, I do believe that, when you take a vow, you better mean it. So I do believe that I would make it work. I do my damnedest to make it work, but that would be very difficult, even based on, because I think the details also matter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I consider myself a man of principle, which sometimes is the details don't matter. This is the principle, right? So no matter how difficult it is, if you consider yourself a person of principle, you do that, and you follow that principle to the letter, no matter what, so to speak, right? But that's very difficult. I mean, that's just like any policy. It's like it's great in theory, but in practice, it's another thing.
Right.
I think there's a lot of other things that matter. It matters the how, or it matters the who, or the when, and some of this stuff really shouldn't matter, but it kind of does, because it's almost like, okay, so with who? Like anybody but him,
Right.
or her.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's some people who might be like, oh, it was a her. Oh, okay, that ain't as big a deal. For somebody else, it might have been like, wait a minute, that happened when? Like, so when we were going through that, and and I thought, like, I'm doing my best to like be cool and chill and hold you down, and instead, like, are you fucking kidding me? You know what I'm saying? Like, so sometimes the timing of things like that too, right, has a whole nother kind of. But in my opinion, regardless of all those details, like I said, if you consider yourself to be principled, and I took my time to get married. I took my time to not just be confident in her, be confident in myself, and not even so much when it comes to infidelity, but really just about the very clear, firm responsibility of, do I have faith in our capacity to, to stay on board this boat together, no matter how rocky the seas get. So, but again, I understand when people say, this ain't just rocky, these ain't just turbulent waves.
Yeah.
This is deadly. I need to get the hell off this boat, and I respect that. And then there's others, I think, who jump off too soon, So how do you know which one you are? How do you know, what that is? So for me, I would definitely say, if it was me, and I know the way I feel about my wife, the way I feel about our life together, and what the work we've done, the work that we've, uh, agreed to stay committed to, the fact that we actually like each other.
Yeah.
And
major, right. That's major.
Yeah, we're friends. We communicate, and all this stuff we still got a lot of work to do. We're not perfect all the time, but that's part of it too. At least we've committed to the understanding that we're not perfect. We're working on it. Neither one of us really knows what the hell we're doing, but we're in it together. Let's figure it out, work through it, talk through it. And we've also demonstrated that to ourselves and to one another, which is why I think, the dating process is so important. I think people sometimes don't even get to know each other until after they're married. And, I believe that can be a problem for some folks too. But you got to have a foundation. You have to have a spiritual foundation. You have to really have, be clear on what you both want to the best of your ability. And if you're like-minded in your values and your goals, even in what you see as your roles, separately and together, there's a lot of things that I think sometimes people just don't cover. So it's more than just, okay, but you also got to have your list of, okay, these are the deal breakers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And is that one of the things on my list? Absolutely. At the same time, do I know that I have the capacity to love, think for myself, forgive, and understand that sometimes whatever these breakdowns might be, that they're more of a reflection of information than they are about, error, or, somebody being, the good guy or the bad guy. What can you learn from it? Excuse me. And how can you do better? And if there's a way and there's space and opportunity to change and evolve and move past it, do I think it's possible? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've been through it in other kind of situations but the stakes haven't been this high either, right? So it's like, I have to be honest and say that's tough to say, but but I believe I would damn sure do my absolute best to move forward from it and still believe, that my woman and I can make it work.
So no entanglements coming, no welcome entanglements coming your way.
Nah, man, I know that's like the fun word right now. Nah, I don't need all that. Been there, done that, like, please, so just like I can acknowledge the beauty in all of you, like, it's just like seeing, oh, look at all these other beautiful works of art and all these other beautiful houses, but I don't want to move. I'm good.
Right.
I like my house.
Yes,
Right.
Yeah.
I love
I
it.
got a beautiful garden over here, and I'm still planting seeds and tending, the soil. All right, I don't need to like jump from this plot over to your side of the street or to a whole nother neighborhood. I can damn sure appreciate it, but no, I'm at peace and very confident in my decision. I was very clear. I made, unlike Jacob, I made the decision.
All right, yes, let's discuss that. Absolutely. But that's my word of the week, works of arts. We're all works of art.
No doubt about it.
I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Latrice. Latrice, you got another question for Lamman, who just called us works of arts.
Yes. By being the final season, do you think the audience will get the closure they need for this season?
Man, some of these questions are set up. Y'all ain't slick, man. Y'all think y'all slick.
So top of it, we know you won't.
So let me tell you this. Yes and no.
No what?
So look, it will. There are definitely, I think, things that come to a nice kind of like a little bit of a button. But I'm telling you, just as much as they do that, it always leaves just a little bit of a space for, enough air to sift through there where you're like, oh man, I want to know what's going to happen, next. And I think that's another reason why they chose to just kind of give it this kind of time and bring it to closure in 5 seasons, is because want it to get to this weird place where it's just kind of like, okay, we're kind of starting to get over that, or now it's just starting to, to feel weird. I think they wanted everybody wanting more. They want to have the show still be of interest and end on a high note and end in a way that I do believe will satisfy a lot of people. But I can also tell you there's a couple things that are going to break your heart. So get your tissues ready. And because good news and bad news will have you crying,
No.
So it's going to be,
bishop gonna be okay?
It may be the last time you see, all of us. It could be the last time you see some of us.
Come on.
And for various reasons, so it gives us a nice platform to go somewhere new, maybe in a completely different direction. I mean, think of all the spin-off opportunities. I mean, our family is so dynamic and so big. Every single, I could see like a little 20-something spin-off with the girls. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And AJ, where do they go right next, right? I think that would be very interesting. I mean, me, Charity, and Grace are in a place and at an age where, we've got these endless possibilities with our love lives. We've got endless possibilities, going in new directions, finding new careers, even maybe finally moving out of that house, or maybe taking over that house, if not handing it over to say, okay, you know what? Nah, let's cut that cord. We thought we couldn't live without it, but maybe we can, just like we thought we couldn't live without the church, but it's being snatched from underneath us as well.
Wow.
I don't know. You're not going to be able to satisfy everybody. There's people who are definitely going to be hurt, as they already are, that were going away in the first place. But as far as the story and these characters, I think you all's relationship with them, first of all, has meant the world to us. So thank you for your love for us and how you've stood by us and supported us together and individually. So I'm flattered to be your favorite, but I know you tell that to everybody.
But listen, Lamman, before we throw it over to Kristen, I just want to let you know how Facebook is blowing up over you.
What's everybody saying?
Loretta Wall said, I need to talk with Caramel Jesus about this being the last season and the last episode. Deb May says, well, how are we going to get our weekly dose of Jacob? Because that is definitely going to leave a void.
I know you're gonna be stuck with the Watch Own app and Netflix and and iTunes and all that, from here on forward. Unfortunately, that's the business of this. That always sucks for all of us, is that at some point all these things have to end. I mean, every show that I've been on, right? I mean, and I've had the privilege of being a working professional that's done some high quality work and successful programs and films my entire career. And at some point, this day comes, and I can tell you for a fact, when I took the job and we were just getting ready to start, I was already preparing for this moment because I know how this business is. So, you just always got to be ready to shift and adapt, create opportunity for yourself throughout, the time you might be on contract doing something else. But it's always heartbreaking, but we held on to each other. I told Lynn and Keith, I'm going to be calling them, mom and pop, like for the rest of our lives together. That's going to be an incredibly impossible habit to break. My relationship with Joy and Merle is really just like they're my sisters. I've really come to love them, these kids, and even Kim, even though she's been my little vicious Carissa all this time, I love her like a sister too. So we've all come to really adore each other, and I look after these girls like they belong to me in real life too. So our parenting and the people we've been parented by, it's going. We're going to continue to ride off in the sunset with each other. This show has been a really, really beautiful example of what true love and fun and creative collaboration and healthy workplace and corporate culture and all that really is about. It's been a real joy. So Oprah herself is a shining example of that. So are all of other folks throughout our OWN and Harpo and Discovery and Lionsgate, family and staff and executives. So many people y'all don't even see that are all part of this culture and part of this energy we're talking about. So it's going to be incredibly difficult. Trust me, our last days together, you couldn't stop the tears, man. It's a problem. It was tough because we also just knew we were leaving each other. So our last days on set and anytime we're together, I mean, it's a real thing, man. So yeah, I love these folks to death.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna miss Jacob too. I mean, it's almost like I'm losing one of my closest friends, right?
Yeah.
So
we're all gonna miss Jacob. I'm just saying.
So
but we'll never leave you. You can always come back and see us. That's the thing. Once this work is done, it lives in perpetuity. So you just have to keep us alive and continue to share this show with all their friends. Because believe it or not, there's still a lot of people late to the party. They still ain't really down. So this show is gonna have a long shelf life. I mean, it's an absolute classic. I think. I mean, I've been incredibly privileged. This show is a true, I think it's really a true tour de force. I don't know that there's anything like it or been anything like it for us or anyone else, and it's an international powerhouse. There's people all over the world,
we have someone watching. We have someone watching from Africa, as a matter of fact.
No surprise. No surprise.
The Zoom room, and they said it's 2:25 their time, and I couldn't miss the greetings from the continent of Africa. That's Dr. Steph Wamba. Yeah, so she stayed up
2:25
worldwide.
I'm trying to do the math and think of which coastline they might be on.
Well, let's ask her.
Or ask her, or wherever in between.
Line are you on? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But while we're asking her that, let's go ahead and toss the ball over to Kristen.
Okay, so let's talk about what's next. I mean, you've had an illustrious career thus far. What's next for you? Are there any characters that you haven't played that you would love to bring to life? Let us know. What's next?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things in the works. I have a project that I'm actually co-writing, or at least I'll say developing. I'm not the true writer. So my partner, he's the one who's really going in on a regular basis, like really etching, but we're developing the story together. And that's called Traces. So it's a really powerful story of a family and lineage and legacy And it's just interesting story about how this little boy is kind of caught in the middle, caught in the fabric of some of the things that are going on. And in particular, there's two best friends, and something happens to one, and his friend steps up to take care of this boy, and then it causes this really interesting dynamic between these two men when they intersect again. But really a really powerful story, and it's really excited about that. So as that comes along, give you a lot more information about that. But that's in its earliest stages. Have another really incredible one, script already written, looking for funding and all that. So we're trying to make this one happen. It's called This Love Wins. And it's a really beautiful look at family, in particular through the eyes of, oh, look, I see something posted. And it's kind of really looking at family through the lens of foster care and the challenges that family and young people have when they're in the adoptive care and foster care system. And it's also about, kind of just the joy of how family sometimes is what you make it. Family also might end up looking different than you dream it and plan it, but at the end, this love wins, and that's the name of it. So This Love Wins, This Love Wins movie, where you can find out more information about that. And I'm the lead, male lead in that one as well. And then there's another one that's really powerful that I'm starring in and co-producing, and as well, and it's about Paul Robeson and Albert Einstein's friendship. And that's called Albert and Paul. So you can find out more information about that at Albert and Paul Film, all right, across the board. And so, yeah, just really powerful that although these guys are almost 20 years apart, Paul Robeson was very instrumental in the anti-fascist movement around the world, even as far as Europe. He's so incredibly well connected, world renowned, world respected as a scholar, as an entertainer, an artist, and activist. And then what a lot of people also don't know about Einstein is, although he was a respected scientist, he was a huge fan of Paul Robeson and had tons of respect for him, and was a very cultured, man. So you think that, maybe Robeson was just the artistic guy and wasn't a scholar. And then most people have made the assumption that Einstein was the scientist and wasn't cultured. And these men had so much in common. They spoke some of the same foreign languages. They had similar tastes in music and art and poetry and literature. And they had this really incredible bond, and it manifested itself in them supporting each other in the fight for equality and justice that they were both involved in their relative parts of the world. But then they both kind of did that and assisted one another in their kind of native parts of the world. Really, really powerful friendship, based on true events. And it shows also how much the American government undermined this friendship, undermined the work that they did, and deliberately and intentionally got in the way of their personal lives, their career, and their reputation, and the work that they would have done, and the way they would have changed the world, being the incredibly influential men that they were, had they been facilitated, had that unity been facilitated as opposed to sabotaged, it would have been really interesting. I believe Paul Robeson is actually, more the father of civil rights than some of the other people that we acknowledge on a regular basis. He was doing it generation, before. So as we now know that the real civil rights movement of the 60s was really a youth movement that really transformed it. And Dr. King ended up kind of being the leader of that youth movement. Remember, he wasn't even 40 by the time he died. But the elders were the ones who really taught and trained and set the example, and had already done or were already doing the work. So when you think back to the Tuskegee Airmen, the Paul Robesons of the world, they were already doing this in the 40s, long before what we've come to know as the height of the civil rights movement in the 60s. So I think his legacy is incredibly, incredibly important and powerful, and has been understated, and I also believe deliberately undermined. And I can't wait to bring that story to life.
Yeah, I love that.
That's exciting. Yeah.
Keep us posted about that. And I love when you shine lights on stories that are not known by the mainstream. And since we're on the line of activism, you are a big time activist. While we're talking about civil rights and all of that, can you share
he's
with
one
us,
of the reasons why.
Yeah, share with us what are some causes that are important to you. I've seen you post about the Black Lives Matter and just the Heart Association. It's like various causes that you have lent your platform to. So talk a little bit more about your activism and some causes that are important to you.
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt, and like I said, even based on some of the other models, that have been in our world, and in particular in our culture. I mean, as Black men and women, we've always been at the forefront of social change and revolution, and the evolution of mankind, for that matter. Truthfully, without us, there might not even be Earth as we know it. I would even go so far as to say, be honest with you. So. We've always been incredibly impactful people. We've always been, like I said, at the cusp of shifts in paradigm in, the formation of culture, not just its change and cultivation. You know what I'm saying? So I've always tried to just figure out, like, where do I fall in that? What's my duty? How is God speaking to me? What was I born with? What were my gifts? And I've always thought about it like, if something was a gift, then literally gifts are free, right? If something was a gift, you ain't pay for it.
Right.
And a divine gift like that comes with responsibility. A divine gift like that comes with some purpose and some destiny wrapped around it. So I really believe that all of our lives are about that conversation with God. Is like, all right, how do I get the clarity on what to do with what I've been given, right? Not just what to do, but how to do it. And I believe that's where the gifts come into. It's like, oh, okay, well, I've been given these talents, or I've been given sensitivity to these things, or I've been given, again, even the privilege of being Black, and everything that comes along with that. So I've always just kind of tried to listen to what that voice is in me, and listen to the things that I've been taught by the incredible, people that I'm descended from, and the teaching and the education and information and powerful influence that's been around me. And again, artistry and activism have always been aligned. They've always gone hand in hand. So they're just two very organic kind of things to me anyway. So my
one
job,
of our
I've
panelists,
always felt, yes,
that you've been a big proponent of education and awareness around HIV and AIDS.
Yeah, all of it. Like all of it, as far as I'm concerned, it's like you either about saving lives or you're perpetuating the destruction of them. You're either about educating and uplifting people, or you're passively or directly, indirectly in the way of the empowerment of other people. At some point, you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. If you're just hanging out and just floating and in limbo, then you just hanging out, going along for some ride, and you're not doing the work that goes along with meeting God halfway. We've been blessed with life. We've been blessed with melanin. We've been blessed with culture. We've been blessed with brilliance, especially if you got 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 hands, 2 feet. What the hell is your problem? You ain't got no excuse. You can get off your shit and get to work. So I've always tried to do the best I can to, like, do my part, and encourage other people to find the same kind of love of themselves and where they come from, and the love for other people. That's part of it too. It's like I've learned this ain't even about me. All these things that I get, all these things that I've been able to do, and even the hard work that I put into it, it's for something. It's for purposes even greater than me. And sometimes that's really scary. You don't really know what to do, how to do it. It's a lot of risk. There's consequences to it. Even sometimes there's things that take a little while to learn how to balance. But at the same time, I definitely know in my heart that my favor, the grace that I've lived with, is absolutely a reflection of my understanding of service and sacrifice, and putting my neck on the line the same way other people did. There's no way the 5 of us, 6 of us would be having this conversation without the sacrifices that other people have made before us.
Amen.
So I think it's absolutely foolish to enjoy the privilege, but not be afraid to do the level of work that you need to do to build on top of that, right? We stand on the shoulders of greatness. We're tied to greatness. We are living greatness, and we're going to manifest it for ourselves and those that come after us. And I just believe, we got to do our part of it to do what we can to impact, positive social change, spread love, encourage each other, uplift each other, challenge each other, check each other, but with love and respect, not letting the ego get in the way, not being greedy. It's not about popularity. It's not about attention, likes, followers, what I'm saying? Wealth, celebrity, none of that. Wealth really is about like deep down. If you know in your heart, you've done your best, you're doing your best, and you're like emptying your cup every day, God will fill it up again every morning, and your cup will run it over. So
we love
I'm
the
with
passion.
it,
We love the dedication. We love the passion. We love all of it. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Like, I don't know where the time went. We could just talk to you all night if we could, right?
I do the same. I kick it with y'all for sure.
Yes, so many things that we didn't necessarily get a chance to get to, but we had our panel, our attendees chiming in. Lamman Rucker is the real deal. He walks the talk and he walks the walk and he talks the talk. He's not a celebrity, he's an artist, and that's why we love him. That came from Imara again, and she was also the one that said that you are a leading voice in so many powerful issues, including HIV and AIDS.
Yeah, all that's important. I think that's all saving lives, health, wellness, education, activism. It's all part of saving lives, man, So
and we also
I've been doing that ever since I was a kid.
A spokesperson for the American Heart Association.
That's the Association of Black Cardiologists, AIDS Healthcare Foundation.
So listen, so we're gonna have you back on. We do a weekly segment that's called Health IQ, and we talk to our community about the effects that COVID is having on the community, just being healthy in the Black community. We're gonna have you come back for one of those.
I'll be more than happy to, because I even have my foundation, so we're called the Black Gents, and we're going to be significantly more active. Tell us about it
before we go. Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a long story too, but we're basically a collective of artists that, we founded the organization under the name the Black Gents of Hollywood back in 2009 in California, in LA. And we're basically artists committed to education, entertainment, and empowerment through the arts, basically using the arts as our primary, vehicle for social change. But it's really about acknowledging Black excellence, in particular, other Black men of color like ourselves who are doing all the exceptional things in their families and their communities all around us, especially those that use the arts or, focus on how the creative spirit is at the source of, being again, how incredible God has designed you to be. Every single person on this planet has creativity. Everybody's not going to be a performing artist, but creativity and the creative spirit is a God-given blessing. And it's a matter of how you use that superpower to benefit others and to uplift, the people around you. So we're really happy to set our sights on the metropolitan area in Atlanta and significantly greater. And we're going to establish it as our national headquarters and be significantly more involved in the empowerment and upliftment of that community. Because two of my other co-founder partners have relocated back to Atlanta as well. And during my time on Greenleaf, been Atlanta this whole time. So Atlanta's, become home for all of us. And so as we're in and out of here, leading the way, we're going to take full advantage of it. And even though LA's home, New York is home, relative to the work that we do, Atlanta's got a huge place in my heart. And, I look forward to serving you all alongside my other Black Gents brothers, man. It's going to be, so you'll be hearing more from us and about us. So, remember, we're here for you too, because we uplift our women, daughters, and sisters and mothers too.
Yep. So we're definitely going to be reaching out for you for a subsequent Health IQ session. And we just got to bring you back. Like, everybody loves you. And especially after the season is over, Jacob, we can't get our weekly dose of Jacob. So we're going to have you come back for that too.
A different kind of weekly dose.
Yes.
I'm with that. It's funny. Wednesday nights, me and Ed Long Jr. do a little recap. and we just talk about some of this stuff from a male perspective. It's called Preacher's Kids.
Ooh.
So we're doing that every Wednesday night on IG Live.
What time?
Yeah, so yeah.
What
so
time?
10 o'clock Wednesday night. Yeah.
Oh.
And so, that's something that started to be incorporated, and people really wanted to hear so much more of this from this male perspective and also kind of from this preacher's kid perspective. So we ended up having some really incredible dialogue there. We started that a few weeks ago. I'll be doing some other stuff that's all connected to, like I said, just being more active and more accessible, to the not just the regional community, but even abroad. So this digital space, that virtual space that we all become significantly more required to live in. Normally I'd be out and about. I'd be traveling all over the country, traveling over the world, and even getting to be with you ladies in person would have been extra fun too. But so I'll be within reach, and again, when you need me, boy, it's that simple. So if you ain't seen enough of me, and you need more from me, just let me know what you need. I'm here to serve.
We'll definitely be in touch. Thank you so much for being on the road.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Lamman. We enjoyed you.
Thank you
So much. We'll be praying for Jacob.
All right.
Everybody.
Hashtag pray for Jacob.
Pray for Jacob.
Right. Thanks for the love, man. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with y'all, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. We enjoyed you.
Absolutely.
And if you can give us just a shout out to the Rolling Out Wine Up family and just let them know that you're watching Rolling Out TV and all of that good stuff, we greatly appreciate it.
No doubt about it. Yo, what's up, family? This is your man, Lamman Rucker, and I'm chilling with the beautiful ladies of the Wine Up. Where are you?
Toast to that.
Rolling out.
We love
Much
it.
love.
Thank you.
We'll be
All right, good night, y'all.
Have a wonderful
All right.
Good night.
Same to you. Appreciate it.
All right, y'all. Yeah, it's 9:08.
That was good.
Where did the time go? Where did the time go?
Oh.
I love an educated brother who delivers the knowledge.
I know.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm looking forward to that Paul and Albert movie.
Albert Einstein, absolutely.
I love that. I love those untold stories.
Yes. We don't even have time to uncork some of these current events that are going on.
Listen, it's always next week.
Next week, so I just want to let everybody know while we are still live, next week we do have Deborah Joy from Greenleaf. So we're continuing with our Greenleaf cast interview. Deborah Joy Winans will be on. She plays Charity in Greenleaf. And so we're going to get a chance to talk to her about her role, the things that she's doing, her family, which is the Winans, her family's family, as also known as the Winans. And you see more recently in the episodes that just aired with Greenleaf, she's singing. So she is a singing artist, gospel artist. Her family, like I said, are the Winans, BBCC, aunts, uncles, all of that good stuff. So I can't wait till next week. So we're going to be uncorking that next week. But today we had so much other stuff to uncork, y'all. I'm just saying.
But that conversation was excellent.
Yes. Also, Beyonce out and Brandy's new album is out. Brandy's back, baby.
Yeah, I think Brandy's dropped on Friday. Beyonce's dropped over the weekend. Everybody is just kind of drunk in love with all of them, right? So just sitting in front of the TV. In business, in the world of business, did you guys see that Nike named a new chief diversity officer? She's Black, Felicia Mayo.
Who, you said Nike?
Nike.
Oh, hey.
That's awesome.
Diversity
okay, for the culture.
Mayo, yes, right. For the culture, okay? I think that was the step in the right direction for them. And then just on a financial perspective, and then we're going to let y'all go. But I just wanted to let y'all know that Apple announced a 4-for-1 stock split. I am a Apple stockholder, okay? You are too.
Yes. Come on now. If you got an iPhone, you better be a stockholder.
You better be one, or a computer.
So
okay, explain to me what four for split. What you just said, Portia. What does that mean?
So what it means is that if you have, so you'll have more shares at the end of the day. So a 4-for-1 split means that if you hold one stock of the share, it's going to split into 4. So just multiply them by 4. So you'll have more stocks at the end of the day. And basically what that means is that it opens up the market for other people to buy stocks at a lower price. Right now, Apple is trading for roughly $425 a stock, which some might think is steep to get into the stock market with owning Apple. However, what they're going to do, I think it's come August 24th or sometime in August, they're going to split the stock. They're going to make it a 4-for-1, and it'll make it easier for other people to buy into getting the stock. However, if you're currently a stockholder, you're going to have 4 times that stock once it splits. Yes. So let's say you got 10 stocks. After the split, you'll have 40 stocks.
Okay.
That type of thing. So I'm just educating y'all just a little bit.
I love it. No one is half the battle. I'm still a little iffy about stocks. So I'm
listen, you get financial, you get pop culture, you get news.
Yes,
fashion.
All of it. Right.
You get it all.
Stocks, Rocky, don't be iffy about them. Just jump in and get some stuff that you like. You know, like when we were introducing it to the kids, my kids go to Gail Perry Mason's Money Matters for Youth camp, and they teach them all about financial literacy and all of that. But what she'll tell them is buy into the stock that you like. You know, if it's Nike, if you like to wear Nikes, buy Nikes. If you like watching Disney, buy Disney, you know, if you can afford it. Amazon is up there, so I don't know if people go
Netflix.
I have that app Robinhood, but I'm still learning how to use it. The app Robinhood.
Learn how to use them.
It's a great tool.
It is a great tool. I have my sons, they both have Robinhood accounts. And so they trade their own. You know, they'll call me and say, hey, Mom, I need some money to close this deal or whatnot. I need this money to buy some more stocks. I just send it to them. Of course, I ask them what it is, but I'll just send it to them. Buy it. Yeah.
And listen, ain't nothing better than cashing a dividend check. Like, listen, wait a minute. Well, ain't this nice? Thank you kindly.
So Apple declared a cash dividend of 82 cents per share of the company's common stock. It's going to be payable on August 13th to shareholders of the record and as a close of business on August 10th. So I'm looking for my little dividend check. Latrice, look for yours. You know,
that means you're going to get 82 cents per share that you own?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So they're paying dividends. They're paying dividends. So just to let y'all know that. But it's 9:13, y'all. We gotta go. We had
this was a good night.
It was awesome.
This was a quick night. We had a quickie.
I love the insight he gave about Jacob's character. I love that because a lot of that what he said about Lady Mae.
What happened?
That was spot on. I love it. I'm gonna miss the show. I'm really gonna miss it.
Okay, I'm gonna say this one thing. They talking about a spinoff. When he said the spinoff with the kids, I was
yes, the 20. That's gonna be awesome though. They need to do one.
No, it's not.
I'm gonna tell y'all something. Those kids,
no, it's not.
Nerves. The kids get on my nerves.
Get on my nerves. Y'all can cut them. They don't even need to be in season 5. I don't know why they in season 5, but it's okay.
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad
somebody got to speak the truth. Somebody got to speak the truth.
Right.
I don't want to say it to him. Just throw shade on the show, but I'm like,
storyline. Like, why y'all here, kids? Like,
y'all here? AJ, go
Sophia. Now, you know what I would like to see? Maybe if we show Zora going off to school, like a grownish type spinoff.
No, we good.
That would be interesting, but
we good.
None of that would be interesting. We good. We need to see more of Jacob. We need to see more of Lady Mae. We need to see more of Bishop. By the way, we did do a Star Studio live with Bishop yesterday, and it was fantastic.
Baby, yes.
Not get a chance to see it. Go back and rewatch it on our Facebook page. It was phenomenal. He's an incredible actor, and
Keith's voice is like silk. It's like velvet.
That's why I said I hope they don't do nothing to my Bishop, y'all. If they do something to my Bishop,
he's got dementia. You see that he has dementia. That's what's going on. They're gonna take him out with a little dementia, but that's
him gone. Just
leave him be.
Jackie's still in the audience. Jackie said no spinoff with the kids. I like the character. The other two kids are not that interesting.
Yeah, I agree. AJ is annoying.
Miss Jackie Davis know what she's talking about.
Yeah, I agree because they are kind of boring, and AJ is annoying as hell. Even though it would be good to kind of get more into his past.
No,
I'm good. Sometimes you see people you don't even want to know. I'm good. I'm good, AJ.
Okay, ladies, it was such a pleasure. We will check back in with the Rolling Out Wine Up next Sunday. We have Deborah Joy Winans joining us. I can't wait. I can't wait to uncork the things that we have to uncork.
I can't wait to talk to her about her and Phil, Charity and Phil. Oof.
She has some moments in there where you just wanted to beat her ass.
Listen, we need to pray for charity. Yeah. We need to pray for charity hashtag.
Pray for charity.
The girl been through a lot. She been through a lot. Pray for charity.
I'm just
hashtag.
Saying. And I would rather that you go through issues like that when you're younger. Like, don't wait till you get older in life to be like, oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and just be the side woman and stick around and act like I did. Don't do it, Charity.
Yeah. I mean, let's say this. Remember, Charity husband came out as gay.
Girl,
while they was married. If that ain't enough to set you off, like, let's be real.
She's traumatized. She's traumatized.
She's been through some things.
Traumatized.
Hashtag pray for charity.
Go through that stuff when we young, y'all. Like, let's encourage our sisters to date. Go through that stuff when you young. First. You get older and you have kids that are looking at you. All of that stuff is in your past. I'm just saying, you can learn.
There you go.
Okay. Let's talk. We had a wonderful show today. Mine was incredible. We're looking forward to Charity next week. And we're just going to toast to life, love, happiness, riches, prosperity, becoming stock owners if we're not, and enriching our lives. Toast.
Yes, and hoping that they will arrest. Do we have to say it again?
Killers of Breonna Taylor.
As a reminder.
Absolutely.
Because they still on the loose.
Y'all. Okay. Toast.
Toast it up.
Yeah, salutes.
Got fruit flies trying to get my wine, y'all. All right. We'll holler next week, y'all. Bye-bye. Okay. Great show, ladies. Great show. I meant to tell y'all that
are we still live?
We're still live.